allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Kevin.
Here.
Clark.
Here.
Wolfman. Ed.
Here.
Kyle.
Here.
Selman.
Here.
Patrick.
Need a motion to approve the minutes of the June 13th, 2018 meeting.
So moved.
Been moved and supported. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. And approval of the minutes of the May 9th regular board meeting.
Motion to accept the minutes.
Okay.
I'll support.
Been moved and supported to, I think I misspoke on the last motion, it's the agenda that we're approving, not the minutes of June 13th. Yeah. So the minutes of May 9th's been motion to approve and supported. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Opposed? Motion is carried. I'm going to skip public comment for just a minute, and we'll go to Sam's report, because he's got a commitment he'd like to read for us.
Everybody should have a copy of my DPW report. Very, very busy. One of the biggest one on there is 21, if you noticed, repair a water leak in the river. We developed a leak in the river. Of course, we had to get it stopped. I had talked to Gordy Frazier, and I believe 4 of the board members come down and seen where it was at. And we had an estimated cost of $20,000 to repair that water leak in the middle of the river. So what I did is I got on the phone and started calling scuba divers. I got a hold of a scuba diving outfit out of East Jordan, father and son team. They said, we'll meet you there Sunday at 3 o'clock, and they showed up Sunday at 3 o'clock. And estimated cost to you guys to repair that, I figured was right around $800. It took that scuba diving team about 2 hours, and they had it all fixed. And with that being said, I would like to say a thank you to Lyle Lovelace. He come down and went up the river and stood on one of the far docks up the river to direct boat traffic so that we didn't have to worry about the diver getting hit by boats going up and down the river.
And I commend you on your work. It was major savings at this point in time.
Uptown, we put one more handicap parking spot. I don't know if anybody's seen it.
At the drugstore?
By the drugstore, we still have to put a post in the sidewalk before Scott can even enforce it. But we went ahead and painted it since we had it.
And 2 no loading areas in front of Bill's
And
place
we
now.
added
for the
one
grocery.
new no parking spot in front of Bill's.
Okay.
So there was one handicap, one no parking. Other than that, everything's painted. Any questions?
I just want to say thanks for the car show help this year.
You're welcome. Granddaughter's got softball game. I love going to it.
Bye-bye.
See ya, thank you.
Thanks, man.
See you, Scott.
Okay, back to public comment, Mr. Cole.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Board, for giving me a few minutes here. I won't be long. My name is Barry Cole. I'm running for Antrim County Probate Judge this year. I'm running against the incumbent, Norm Hayes. Just briefly, a little bit about me. I grew up in Mansalona. I graduated from Mansalona High School in 1973. Went to Michigan State University and got my bachelor's degree in pre-law, and then went to Cooley Law School right there in Lansing and graduated in 1981. So I've been practicing in Antrim County since then. I originally went into practice with Judge Unger and another attorney in Bel Air, and then I opened up my own office in Mansalona, where I was there for 30 years. And then last year I opened up an office in Bel Air. So that's where I'm at now. So, again, I'm from Antrim County. My wife is from Antrim County, County Cresnock, if anybody might know their maiden name. We have 2 daughters that are full grown. One lives in Chicago, one in Denver. As most of us parents know, it's hard for kids to find a job around here. We miss them, but that's the way it is. So that's a little bit about me. Briefly, what is the probate court? A lot of people don't and fully understand what our 3 courts do. We have a district court, we have a circuit court, we have a probate court. Especially the probate court's a little confusing because it also encompasses the circuit court. What do I mean? Well, probate court, as the name sounds, it deals with probate. Okay, estates, things like that, trusts. The probate court has always traditionally dealt with the mental commitment hearings, looking over mentally disabled folks, taking care of them with guardianships, things like that. More recently, about 20 years ago, the jurisdiction was shifted from the circuit court, well actually the state of the circuit court, but the probate judge became responsible for a certain portion of the circuit court, which is now called the family court. You've probably heard of that. The family court, which again the probate judge presides over, handles just about everything to do with juveniles. Juvenile crime, juvenile guardianships, most importantly, abuse and neglect regarding children. I think that frankly is probably the number one thing that the probate court handles. Keeping our children safe is obviously a community value that we all subscribe to and has to be done properly. Abusive parents, neglectful parents can sometimes be trained, can sometimes be put on the right track, sometimes they can't be. Children need permanence. If their family isn't going to work, it's the job of the probate court to find them a family that does. That's probably the hardest thing that that judge does. So, that's what the probate court does. The current judge, Judge Hayes, has been there for 3 terms. They're 6-year terms, so that's 18 years. He's after a 4th term. He was, they might recall, a district judge before that for 10 years, and prosecutor over in Gaylord for 10 years before that. So I guess the reason I point that out is I have been practicing in the probate court for 35 years. I've drafted hundreds of estate plans. I've helped parents that were accused of neglect. I've helped children that were under abusive situations. I've been a guardian ad litem. I've done just about every type of matter that comes before the probate court. And I feel that's what commends me, if you will, to this job. The current judge, while he's been a judge most of his career, has never practiced in this court to speak of. And I think that's important because, again, this is the family court. It's the court that involves more of the community than any other court. The other courts, if you're not suing somebody and you're not in trouble criminally, you'll probably never see them. Probate court, a lot of us end up there for a variety of reasons. Divorces are handled by probate court. So, what I'd like to leave with you is the impression that it's important that the judge having practiced in that court, having helped people in that court, because people come to that court for help. And I think being on both sides of the bench, if you will give me a perspective that will allow me to help people and create situations that are helpful. Again, people come to the court for help. They don't come to the court to be yelled at. They don't come to the court to be degraded. And I would very much like to make our court more user-friendly. I think it should be paperless. There's been a bit of a pushback against that. I know as an older fellow, I'm not computer savvy, but I do understand the importance, particularly in court proceedings, of having everything electronic. Having practiced there, you have something come up, you can pull it up instantly. What was said, right on the computer right now, instead of having a stenographer try to find it in their notes. Things like that. So anyway, I would like to make improvements. My time's up. I would like to thank you. Again, thank you very much for your time, and I would ask for your vote on November 6th.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Mr. Schmidt, your floor.
Yeah, my name's James Schmidt, I live at 8101 Davis Street, right in the corner of College and Davis in Central Lake. Last fall, I have a 3-wheeler that's electric, it's called an e-motor, or e-electric, is what it's called. It's for handicap purposes. It's got 3 wheels, it's driven by an electric motor, and I use it because I had a knee replacement on my left foot. My left foot's a little bit longer than my right foot, about 2 inches. Last fall, I was notified by Scott Barrett that I wasn't allowed to use it in the village streets. And so I did. Now summer's hitting here, obviously, and I like to use it. The thing about it is, it's not a moped. He keeps referring to it as a moped. A moped has two wheels and it's got a gas engine in it. It's got to be licensed. Mine is basically a handicap accessible three-wheeler. I think that I'm being a little bit picked on because there's people that have golf carts that are electric in town, use them all the time. And they're not licensed either. There's also quads, you know, they use it all the time, go by Howard Street and once in a while down Davis, and I know different people in town that they haven't used it. So, I mean, if he's gonna pick on one thing about a moped, it's not a moped. So all I'm asking the council is to give me permission to drive it in town, in the village of Central Lake.
Is that your only issue?
That's my only issue. Well, I do have one more, I'm just gonna add it. I got a water bill for about $600, I think it's down on $493. That water bill is incurred by the Schmidt Foundation, which files its own income tax, which is Form 990 every year. It's got its own separate EIN tax number. I purchased it in April, I believe it was, or March, from the Schmidt Foundation, now it's solely in my name. And I have my own social security number, which I file my income tax number. So when the bill was evidently occurred, it was under the Schmidt Foundation. Now I'm getting a bill for it, and I'm a sole individual. I have nothing to do with the Schmidt Foundation as far as an individual. So I like that to be dismissed, please.
Okay, in response to that one, the first issue, we'll have to have some time to determine that.
Sure.
Okay. The second issue, the only name that we've had that water account under is your name. We've never had it under the foundation name. And it's not our responsibility to change the names, because we can't track those down. That's your responsibility to let us know that. Regardless, if you purchased it, I asked, did you have a contract when you purchased it?
Yes, I did.
And did they provide you with a title insurance policy?
There's a quick claim.
Did they provide you with a title insurance
No,
policy? They did not. Then, from my perspective and my understanding of law, that water bill is your responsibility. If they did not provide you with clear title, that's your fault, that either you didn't get a tax insurance or a title insurance policy, or that you didn't do your own title work and make sure that all the bills were paid before it transferred ownership. So I don't see where we have a choice in that.
Well, are you finished?
Yep.
Okay. We're going to go to court. Because I'm not gonna pay something that was another person. It goes against the property. The bill goes against the property, not against an individual. And at the time the alleged bill was occurred, it was under the name of the Schmidt Foundation. Like I said, files 990 form and has a separate EIN number. I can get title insurance on the property. Of course, to get title insurance, then I get a warranty deed. I transferred over to my name and purchased it from the Schmidt Foundation, which is a legitimate sale. The water bill doesn't go against the person, it goes against the person that owns the property, the entity that owned the property. At that time, it was the Schmidt Foundation. Like I said, I purchased it in April, and now it's.
But our records have only indicated that it's been in your name and not the foundation name, and we can't track that down.
You want me to get your copy of the quitclaim deed when I bought it, and the time when the Schmidt Foundation bought it?
Doesn't matter, the bill was in your name prior to when you bought it, it wasn't in the foundation name, as far as our records were concerned.
Well, you put it in the James Schmidt name, but I was the director of the Schmidt Foundation.
Then,
Well,
it's not our issue to track who pays that bill. If it's in your name, you're responsible from our perspective.
no, it's not true. You want to talk to your attorney about it first?
I'll be happy to talk about it.
Okay, because I'll be real honest with you, I'm not being mean or belligerent or anything like that, but I'm gonna go to court on this one.
No, that's fine.
And I talked to Elder Law in Lansing and also the Legal Services in Traverse City, they both said, they're the ones that told me what the problem was and how to fix it. And that's the fact that I'm not obligated for that bill.
Okay. We'll have to probably end up in court then, because.
You wanna talk to the attorney first, or you just want me to file?
You can file, I'll talk with the attorney.
Okay, sounds real good.
Sure,
So that's all I have to say.
very good.
Thank you.
Okay, Any other public comment? We'll get to you guys down the road. Police report, Scott?
Thank you. Hopefully everybody got a chance to look at the report. It is getting extremely busy with the summer and all the extra people in town. Let's see. I'll hit some highlights here real quick. Couple interviews, couple training things out of the ordinary. School finished up obviously this last month. Pretty much everything else is listed on your report. One of the things Sam asked that I talk about before he left is that last meeting we talked about moving a speed limit sign on State Street. I don't see that as an action item, but we did go out and measure that and figure out where it would need to be to put it at the village limits. One of the questions that we kind of tabled it for this meeting is that was there the legal distance for the sign that comes into town that says, you know, change the speed limit ahead, stuff like that. So that meets all the requirements with the current sign that's in there. Why those two were put even further apart, I don't know. But by moving the sign to the village limits, which is in front of Weaver's house, we still meet the minimum requirement as far as notice for cars to slow down. So Sam has, I think, one sign, or he has to order one, he has to order a post or something like that. So it's kind of a minimal cost to the village as far as what we have versus what we need. So.
I talked with Stan at the township, and he said just move it.
Yeah.
Anything else for Scott?
I'm not sure, I think we had talked about, I don't know if it needs a board approval or whatever, can't think of the word for it as far as that amendment, but
A motion to approve.
something on that side, it's board approval to do that, I think, or
I
something.
would think so. Needs to be a formal action that says we're authorized to move, not that
Okay.
Scott's just out there moving the sign because he feels like it.
We'll add it to the, we'll take care of it tonight since we talked about it last meeting as well.
It's a board motion is what I mean, I'm sorry. Any questions?
Okay, thank you.
Great, thank you.
He's not here. Lyle wasn't on the agenda. He said he didn't want to talk because Rob was going to tell us everything anyway, so
I just want to say I'm glad to be back.
good to have him.
Good to have you.
Lyle's not here. Sewer and water, Leila?
Nothing new.
Okay, Bill, law enforcement?
Just one thing about our new car there, we got a check back from Chicago Motors to cover some of the repairs that needed to be done to it. That was $544.48. And I think Scott covered everything else.
And we still have the grant from the Canadian company that we haven't heard back from yet.
Trans-Canada, yet that grant's still pending, so, and like we talked the other day, if that comes through, then we're kind of at zero cost for the new car, so.
Okay, Melissa?
I know that at one time this board, we talked about doing an electronic newsletter from this village, and at that time the board decided to not opt for that. I'd like to bring that up again for the discussion in light of the branding program that's going on with the Rising Tide. If anything, to have the village put noteworthy events or activities we could maybe attach to a chamber newsletter that goes out monthly. So I will bring that back next month. I want to see where the branding committee is at and what their plans are. But I really think we need to get some info from this village out to the people on a regular basis.
Okay. Anything else?
That's it.
Brian?
Everybody should have a copy of this article that came out in the Record Eagle. Rob brought this to my attention a couple weeks ago, and if you have a chance to read this, just go through it. If you flip to page 2, this is about the MERS retirement. And I don't know why Central Lake got picked out of all these other places, but but that's fine. We're about halfway down. If you see Central Lake, pension assets, underfunded, you know, so we're percent funded at 92.8%. The reason, the thing that bothers me is back in the wintertime, we lowered, MERS said that we should lower our percentage down because we had paid enough. We're in good shape, but the trouble, future boards, most of us probably won't be here 10 years from now. For future boards, they're gonna have to keep track of this, because if you look at some of these other places, like the city of Frankfurt, they're $1.75 million behind. So we wanna make sure that we don't get that far behind, because we're gonna have 4 people probably retiring within a few years of each other. So if you get a chance, read this article. It's kind of interesting, and thanks, Rob, for bringing that to my attention. I forgot to hand these out tonight, if everybody could get one of those. Hand them down, please. Rachel gave this to me the other day. She called Charter for us and asked if there was any savings that we could do with all the phones and the internet and everything else. So this is what Charter offered, and this is the savings that we're gonna have per month on all of our different accounts. So we're looking at $168.79 a month, which is a couple $1,000s a year for the same service. So I wanna thank Rachel for taking the time and doing that. And the third thing is, Rachel is signed up for some computer classes starting in the fall semester through accounting classes, through her college education that she's taking. And she has asked, starting in September, if she can come in on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., Monday, Wednesday, 7:45 to 3:45. The Personnel Committee has said that it was fine with them. If anybody has any questions, we can address them tonight. If not, we will give her the authorization to do that.
Brian, what was it Monday, Tuesday, or Monday, Wednesday, Friday for 7:45 to 3:45?
Monday, Wednesday, 7:45 to 3:45.
So no hours on Friday.
Tuesday and Thursday,
Make up
11.
hours on Friday, like it is now.
Pardon?
Make up hours on Friday, like it is now.
You don't have set hours on Fridays.
Set hours on
Right.
Friday, correct.
What's Tuesday, Thursday?
11 a.m. to 7 p.m.
So anybody that worked days could actually get in here.
Actually, if you think about the Secretary of State's office down in Bel Air, they're
We'll
open
just
on
leave the
Wednesdays.
hours like that.
They're open on Wednesdays till 7 or, it's wonderful for people that get out of work at 5. So I think it's a great idea. Is this gonna go the whole school year or the semester?
I would imagine till January, and then, next semester, there's probably gonna be another Tuesday, Thursday morning class, so
Does any-
probably till next spring.
For the college school year?
Yep.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions, any concerns about it?
I think it's a win-win for us.
I think it is too. I mean, if Rachel pursues higher education, it's a benefit for us also.
I think benefits us as a employer.
Okay, so we're good with that. I'd just like to take a couple minutes and thank basically our 3 department heads for the extra work that they do for the village. Rachel with this charter looking to save money. Scott's great about getting grants. That day of the water leak, Sam called me. I was just leaving the house to go to work, and I met him down at the river, and he's like, well, we gotta do this. I gotta call Jennifer. He came to the barber shop 3-4 times throughout the day, and then he said, well, I talked to him at lunch, and he says, what do you think about a diver? And I said, I think that's a great idea. Because we was thinking a $20,000 figure just to put a Band-Aid on something. So he said, I've got a diver coming in Sunday afternoon, like you said tonight, $800. You know, I think our village, our 3 department heads, I'd like to commend them for the extra effort that they go through to try to save the village money. And that's all I have, thank you.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. So, if we get the grant from TransCanada, we'll have our new police car free of charge. So if not, we got a new one for $3-4 grand anyway, so.
And everybody loves the new Charger.
In respect to that water leak in the river, more than likely, we'll have to, somewhere down the road.
It's a Band-Aid, it's a fix.
We'll have to replace that whole line from 8 Maple Street across the river to Ruston Road. So that's about, Sam and I figured we got about $500,000 to $600,000 left in the water system to update, which we go from Maple Street to the Ball Diamond, from Chestnut Street to Maple Street, Chestnut Street to Howard Street on Maple Street. That section, then this section from Lake Street to Ruston Road across the river, under the river, and then some services up on State Street that he would like to get replaced as they keep going bad. So if we can look out for CDBG monies of $600,000, we'll be in pretty good shape. We can do that. So. Parks and public property, Rob?
Let's see, start with this envelope. Let's see, on Sunday, May 20th, Dylan Summer and myself, used my truck and trailer, we put in the South White docks, 3 sections, south of the boat launch, and then 2 sides on the north side of, so Antrim County Marine Patrol and Lyle could use that. They've been widely successful on the south side. We're charging $5 a day. How much we've gotten in revenue, Lyle?
I've presented $60 so far, and I've got another $40 coming in by this week.
All right, so we'll have 100 so far. It's cost us $250 in and $250 out, so the dock should not cost the village of Central Lake any money because we're recouping the cost of putting them in and taking them out by charging them $5 a day. Scott Bonney, the director of the Marine Patrol, wants to thank the board and the village for allowing them to put their boat there. It's very convenient for them to get on and off the boat. That's that. Let's see. We had one of the trees on the north docks that we purchased with our grant was vandalized and killed sometime between last fall we planted in the spring. That's our 3rd tree that we planted there. First one was cut down and taken away, not a leaf to be found, all the way to the ground. Second one died mysteriously. So my wife Maggie took to Facebook and posted all the pictures of the person that peeled all the bark off the tree. The community got together. It started with Rob Schutz asking Molly Hanlon at Porcupine Hollow to donate a tree. She generously is donating a 4 to 6 inch diameter trunk tree in the fall, but she didn't know anybody with a tree spade. So Bill Chapman knows Ron Robinson. So Bill Chapman calls Ron Robinson, and Ron Robinson owed Bill Chapman a favor, so we got that one off the list. The ball kept rolling, so that's going to be planted in the fall. Luke Buffman and Rob Schutz can donate equipment or any other their time to make the process go more seamlessly. One of the caveats of Porcupine Hollow donating a tree was somehow that we could do our best to keep this one alive. And this will go on my next topic. We did install a camera that is directly on the north side docks. It's beautiful, so we should be able to see it. It does have night vision. So hopefully that'll deter the person. John Mann is also putting in a new camera system, and he said he would also, from his store, train one of the cameras on the docks as well. So we'll have one viewing the docks from the southwest side, and we'll have one directly east of the tree that will be planted. So hopefully that'll deter who's ever vandalizing the trees and for whatever reason. So that turned out really well. Let's see, through the course of the spring, I've been working on installing all the cameras in and around the pavilion. We've got 6 installed there with the help of Joe Bodley, Ken Graham, Brad Scott. I was in the rafters. We've got 2 more to install around the fish cleaning house and in front of the bathroom. It's really difficult to do this, so it takes time because you're dealing with a website and a DVR and cameras that are activated, and you have to get them all in the right spot. So once you get them all running, they should be maintenance free. They're doing their jobs. Vandalism in the bathroom is down since we put them in. According to Sam, the pavilion doesn't have cigarette butts or pop on the concrete floors anymore, so they're definitely doing their job. Lyle, anything to add? You clean those bathrooms.
I don't actually clean them, but I open them up every morning and close them up in the evening, and they're not the stuff that we were finding, and it's been real good.
Rob, are we required to have any signage up that says your body camera or anything
Nope.
like that? All right.
According to Brian Grand, there's no expectation of private or public facility. We are going, 11 o'clock on Saturday, we're going to have a fence company come out and look at a new fence for the basketball courts, so that way we'll have new fence, new court, and new basketball hoops down there. Hopefully in the fall. They are a month behind. I just talked about the tennis courts. Let's see, the tree. Oh, and then our revenue for May of this year, we were down $207 as compared to 2017. So that's a decrease of 3.4%. I went through each site and reservation. We lost one long-term renter on site 21 for this May. So that's the reason for the downturn. So, and I would imagine the weather.
What's the total?
Last year's total was $6,103.39. May's total for this year was $5,895.55. And that's that was a major reason for the 3.4% drop. So we had a really good run as our first decrease in I don't know how many years. And that's it.
Any questions? Under my report, we did receive a letter back from our sidewalk grant that we had applied for, and we were denied. They just said we were denied. They couldn't give us any reasons, so, other than there were many applications. So, we did have a branding meeting on the 5th, last 2 weeks ago yesterday. There was 6, 7, 8 of us in here. I don't remember the exact number, but we tossed around various ideas and had a consensus on seasonal adventure with historical charm as our new name, promotional comment, I guess, that we'll begin to brand. So Jennifer Gabris, she and her husband own the laundromat. She's also a graphic designer and has graciously accepted the challenge of coming up with logos and things of that sort that we'll meet. Next time we meet, I don't know when that is yet, but we'll go over what she's come up with and see where we stand with that. We have belonged to the Michigan Coalition to Protect Public Rights of Way. It's been a little over $100 a year membership. Brian Graham sent us a letter saying that we are under no legal obligation to belong to this group. I know that prior to 2010, we did not belong, but we have, I think, since 2014. So we're not gonna vote on it tonight. I'm just bringing that to your attention. We'll put it on the agenda for next time to see if we wanna proceed with it or not. So, I also think it's maybe time that the football championship sign in the triangle on the north side of town should be returned back to the school and let them use it. And move on from that tremendous accomplishment.
Could we maybe do it after the 4th of July parade, because this is a secret, don't tell anybody, but we're wanting the football team to be the grand marshals for the parade this year.
Sounds
So
like,
after the parade would be better.
sounds like a reasonable,
Any word on our signs yet that we ordered through MDOT?
they've just been ordered, so,
And paid for.
and paid for, so. And tomorrow morning, I meet with Brian Graham, our attorney, to discuss strategy for the mediation that our camper has chosen, our band camper has chosen to agree to. The attorney, Brian was given 3 attorneys out of Traverse City. He picked one by the name of Peter Dorn, which their side has agreed to. The mediation, I think Brian said he thought was in August, but he wasn't sure. He was speaking from memory. So I will certainly have more come July meeting as to what that's all going to entail.
Maybe I'm just confused because I wasn't at that meeting where, like, isn't the camper still banned, right?
The camper is still banned.
And now we're mediating to get him back into the campground or to keep him out of the campground?
We offered to seek mediation through an independent attorney, on either side, and each present our case and whatever the mediator comes up with. We're essentially both accepting that decision. So I don't know if he'll come back or not come back. It's part of the mediation, but that's what we offered as a way to resolve the problem.
Brian Graham suggested that this was possibly what we could do to see if we can resolve the situation instead of every year.
As
This is
alternative to
The
lawsuit.
end, this
Should
is
be.
the end.
This should end.
This should
Okay.
end, yes. Instead of going through this
Don't wanna
every.
keep going on and on and on.
This should end it, and it should
And
skirt any lawsuit. So, and that's all I have, unless somebody has any questions for me.
And that camper has taken away the reservation for the rest of the summer.
Approval of the bills, we have prepaid of $22,201, payroll of $6,716.33, payables $17,105.75, for a total of $47,023.08.
I'll make a motion to pay the bills as approved. Support.
Been moved, supported, any further discussion? Roll call?
Chapman?
Yes.
Clark?
Yes.
Patton?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yep.
Zelnat?
no,
Thacker?
Yes. Motion is passed. No new business action items. We have both gentlemen from Mammoth Distilling here, and they are requesting that we allow them to put outdoor seating on the sidewalk. It's our understanding that it has to be roped off to comply with the liquor license, and anything else that you guys would like to add?
You want rigid barriers, do
like a rope barrier,
you,
like
we
when
use
you're
ropes, we use metals, and
plastic chain or something?
what's your preference, I guess?
Nothing permanent, because I gotta plow the sidewalk in the winter.
Right, just, but temporary,
Yeah.
temporary rigid, whatever appeal, I mean, we wanna do what appeals visually to everybody, so.
Is there enough room?
Is there enough room?
On the side and in the front?
And you talked to Sam about where, last year he had said that we wanted to have to talk about it, that he preferred that it would be, I think, on the
Old
curbside.
State side or 88 side?
On
On
the
Old
state
State
side.
side.
State side.
Yeah.
Old State side, you have 8.5 feet from the sidewalk to the wall.
Is that, did you speak with Sam?
That works.
You would allow,
Same with
leave
DPW.
enough passage for,
For a wheelchair, yeah.
handicap.
I mean, we'll definitely, obviously make sure that that happens. But, yeah, I don't know, just mentally, I think that, I feel like there's more room in the front. But
You do, you have
Well,
15
there's
feet.
more
we'll
room in
definitely
the front.
double check, it'd just be like one, we're thinking.
How much are you
Can't
talking?
they do
2 or
a couple in
3, 4
front and one on the
tops.
side, a couple on the side, a couple in the front?
My concern outside is that I don't want anyone walking out of there. I want somebody that's going to see, if somebody's got a taco in their hand, that you know.
So why
where they
not
are.
just in the front?
I mean, we're like touch class, with kind of like how they have theirs.
And was
So
that,
ours is
has
gonna
Touch
be-
of Class
we're-
asked us if they could put their tables on? Or are we gonna set a precedent with this move so that everybody in town's gonna put their tables on? No offense, I want your tables
No,
out.
yeah, no, we want to make sure we're doing
And
it.
I want them out too, and I don't think Touch Classes did not ask, but that happened before we had any regulations regarding zoning. And it's essentially a zoning issue, land use issue.
As long
So
as there's
are we
people.
making
So
an exception?
are,
I think we've made an exception, or implicitly made the exception
yeah,
to Touch a Class, where if anybody else would like to do it, as long as they can keep foot traffic safe, then we should be okay with it. So I don't have a problem.
I think. it's a
well,
limit-
I guess what I'm,
limit for
if anybody else wants to do it, I think they need to come to this board and ask. I don't
I
feel
don't
that
dis-
anybody
I
else
don't
should be
disagree
allowed to
with
do
that.
it without,
I don't disagree with you there.
well, that
but-
should probably be in the minutes somewhere then, Rachel, to make sure that this board is.
Some of the places I've seen in Sturgis have a counter attached to their building that comes up, and then they use bar stools out.
Oh, consider bar.
So then
Like
they
this.
just drop the
Like this
counter
little
down.
thing.
Right. Yeah, and leaving it out at night doesn't strike me as a good idea either. Yeah, we do
Right.
Yeah, no,
Either
they're
gotta
taking
fold
it
away
at
and
Touch
go
of
back
Class
in
too.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's
we
what
need
I was
a-
gonna ask, are you gonna take them in?
Yeah.
So they're not,
We'll take it. And we're not even, it's not like we're a bar where we're open. People will be allowed, 11 at the latest, and I think it's good just to see people outside.
I
For
think
local
on-
businesses and for the village altogether.
I think on the side is not a good spot.
You can't monitor much on the side.
At least you do.
If you do the bar thing attached to the building, it changes the zoning request. So I think if you do something that's temporary with your guys' approval, that's probably more applicable.
So a motion to approve Mammoth Distillery.
I still got a couple more questions, because I got the picture right here, and I'm seeing some things here. There's a bench to the west there, is that bolted in, or is that gonna stay? I guess it'd be to the north on 88.
Bachman's bench?
No, from the kind of black wrought iron
That's our
bench.
village
That's the
bench.
village bench.
That's a village
Yeah.
bench.
It's not-
It's not permanent.
Okay, and then to the left of that is we got a sewer cover right there. So what was the size of your tabletops gonna be?
The 36, I think it's, four top is 36 square, right? You can bring an orange table up on it. So metal, four-way
Okay.
metal table, 36-inch square.
Four chairs per table.
How many tables are you looking at?
If we can do
Well,
3, I mean, most likely probably just 2 4 tops, but I mean,
Okay.
if there's room, if there's.
See how you
room
go
for
with
a-
the two
For a
and see
how
building,
you
it'd be like 5 or anything, but.
I think it'd be all right to start with 2.
Yeah, because it's actually kind of nice here on this picture. It's got a 36-inch sewer grate, or I should say manhole cover, that you can use as kind of a template to see where your tables would, how your tables would impact the sidewalk there. I'm just looking at that. All right.
So a motion to approve seating for 8 to 12 outdoor at Mammoth,
And you do want, because it
With-
needs regular better rope.
temporary.
8 to
Just
12.
I think we
8 to
have,
12
Yeah.
seats.
whatever
Five
you've got to
spaces.
rope it in, but whatever you want to use.
Okay.
I'll support
Well,
Up to
let's say
12,
2 to
up
3
to 12.
tables.
Scott has another question.
Well, what if they,
It has to be roped off at some point for LCC, and it also has to, your liquor license has to say that
Well,
you
they
also
could
have
put
outside
two
sale.
lawn tables out there that seat 12.
But a rope's okay.
Because they're telling us they want 4 tops, so I'm saying that if they do 2, 4, at least 2 and possibly 3, seating for 8 to 12. Is that what you're asking? Seating for 8 to 12.
They've got permission to do it.
Yep.
With the, well, and if they change their mind, maybe they come up with 2 that's 6 on each side or something. I'm more concerned about how many people, the number of seats,
And I said I would support it.
including Rachel, the
There you go.
barricade.
Yes, Mr. Smith.
Your liquor license has to be denoted, you have patio seating, there's an extra liquor license for that.
It's an amendment.
That's been mentioned. Yeah, Touch Class doesn't have that issue, so.
No booze.
Okay, it's been moved and supported to allow 2 to 3 4 tops. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion is carried. Okay, MEDC, Michigan Economic Development Corporation, has been generous enough to give us another CDBG grant, but we have to have a procurement policy, which everybody received a copy. This is a standard one that we have gone by in the past, we just have never been required to approve. So you should have all had time to take a look, and nothing really changes other than it's passed. Yeah.
Real interesting.
That's pretty nice.
To go to bed?
I woke up twice.
Need a motion to approve the procurement policy.
So moved. Support.
Moved and supported. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion is carried. Our lot to the north of Walden State Bank is where the pavilion is going. Those big pine trees, there's either 4 or 5 of them need to be removed. If we pay through grant monies, we will have to put it out for bid. They will have to comply with Davis-Bacon wage issues. And if we decide to spend that portion out of our general fund, we can hire whoever we want. And we essentially told Ralph Hines that if he would be allowed to do it, he said it would cost $2,000. So we're gonna hold him to that.
How many trees?
I think there's at least 4 and maybe 5. So, but it would save a whole lot of paperwork and hassle if we just paid for $2,000. It's not worth it to go through the
If
paperwork.
he cleans it up good afterwards.
Well, it's gonna get torn up anyways.
Right, it's all.
Well, yeah, but you still have to clean up the mess that he makes,
Yeah.
because he'd make a mess.
But I'm not too concerned about hiring Ralph Hines necessarily, other than he is local.
Village resident.
He's a village resident.
Yeah.
But at least we don't have to comply with the grant. So,
Now, who's gonna take, when we do the excavating, the stumps will come out at that time?
that's a good question. We might be able to take the stumps out, just the village crew. So,
Have Ralph grind them up? He's got a stump grind.
yeah,
That's gonna be more.
that'll be more than 2,000, because I think that was just to cut them down and haul them away, so.
Be a lot of work getting them suckers out. Big trees.
There's some big logs that get out of trees.
But I'll make a motion to pay for the tree removal and have Heinz tree removal service do it, other than grant money.
I'll support it.
Bill had already supported it.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
That's okay.
Sorry.
Very good. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Yes.
Yes.
Patton,
Yes.
Tyler.
Yep.
Zolnak,
No.
Becker.
Yes. Okay, we've added a speed sign moved on East State Street, moving it from inside the village limits back to the village limit sign to indicate 35 miles an hour. And the township had no issues with it, so I think Stan said just move it. You wouldn't worry about county sheriffs or state police or anybody else, so. I'm going on his recommendation.
So moved.
Support.
And moved and supported to move the speed sign on Old State, East State, to the village limit. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion is carried. Old business, any further public comment? Yes, sir, Mr.
I have a question. How does Earl Hines manage to get away to store all those logs back there? I mean, it's a mess. And his equipment too. I know he's a village resident, and you're having tree work done, but I just wondered how that works.
From my perspective, it works because he was there first before we had any zoning regulations, the land use regulations.
But he has to conform to once they're in place, though, doesn't he?
Not necessarily, if his use hasn't changed.
He's zoned village mixed use, so.
He's
He's
zoned
mixed
village
use.
mixed use, but the fact that he was doing that prior to us having zoning, he's grandfathered in. The only thing that would prevent something like that from happening is if he abandoned his operation and someone else came in and wanted to do the same thing. I don't think they could. They would have to comply with whatever zoning is on the books at that point in time.
So the front of the property on M88, where his house is on, that's zoned commercial, correctly?
Mixed use. Yeah.
Mixed use. How far back does it go?
I believe it went back to the old railroad or Cherry Street. if I remember.
Do you have a zoning map of it?
Yes, we do. It's online.
Online?
It is online.
Okay. How do we pick that up? I'm just curious. Just go to www.villageofcentrallake.com.
Village of Central Lake should take you to our website, and then just, there's a zoning click, and well, there should be a zoning map and a zoning policy that's on there,
I'll look into it. I don't think that's right.
There's an alley back there behind his place.
so. Right, there's,
And
It's actually, it's called, it's a street.
Pine Street.
Pine Street, yeah.
it's called straight.
Yeah, Pine Street.
Okay.
any further discussion? Need a motion?
Did you want me to do public comment?
Jennifer,
I know
We
you guys
forgot
missed
about
me.
you.
I know you missed me.
You haven't been here in 6 months, we forgot about you.
Aw, maybe 3. Next time, I'll bring
Yes.
cookies.
we'd love to hear from you.
No, just a quick update, no, help with the village again, with the rising tide, and so, haven't forgotten about the 5 docks on the west side, and so that's actually going out for bid as we speak, and as Larry had indicated, because we do have to comply with Davis-Bacon, so some of that, language working with, Jessica Lovey, your grant administrator, she's helping me through that process, but, so that's going out this week, and procuring those bids, so I will be presenting that information, hopefully at the next council meeting. I think bids are set to be received July 8th, so it'll be after. But we'll be moving forward with that, the intentions are they can be built by October 1st. And then the same thing, once the trees are removed, we're gonna get in and do topo for the sites, the pavilions, and then start working on that concept layout, selecting the toilet style we wanna go with, the same thing with pavilion style. So there's some options that we'll have to talk about. I'll have to get some info at that point, but just to give you a quick update, if anybody has any questions.
Now, need a motion to adjourn. Any
Support.
support? Got a motion and a support to adjourn the meeting. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Thank you. Motion is carried.
Bless your birthday.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Yep.
Larry, I just